attention to the way that they utilize timeouts.
Lee Griffin, the electric return man, busted open into the Mississippi twilight. Touchdown, Bulldogs! It was Griffin's 70-yard kick return last week that ignited the comeback. He starts the party tonight.
He starts the party, Anish, and what we just talked about there with Taylor, coming in and dealing with a hostile road environment, just got that much tougher.
7-0 Mississippi State before you had a chance to blink.
And a couple of great broken tackles in the midst of this. Breaking through the initial wave here, but then you see shrugging off arm tackles, making the kicker miss. And then once he found daylight, pulled away and knew what time it was. Let those cowbells ring out early here. And boy, you want to talk about a way to welcome the fans back in. A roller coaster of emotion last week. You start them off at the high point. Opening kickoff touchdown here.
Griffin last year, the MVP of the Armed Forces Bowl, and did his work on special teams, 35 yards of return in that game for the Bulldogs. For Dave Doran's team, they haven't played many of these Power 5 non-conference road games. Just the fourth time they're playing one in the regular season in his 9-year tenure. NC State will bring it out to the 25-yard line. Now the coaches can simulate ringing the cowbells and throwing Tootsie Rolls and markers. Can't simulate this.
As a player, I always needed this first series to really get my legs underneath me here. In an environment like this, you've been stressing all week, especially in that group up front. Over-communicate, and that starts with Devin Leary, their quarterback, making sure everyone's on the same page before you snap that ball.
He celebrated a birthday yesterday, one of the top signal callers in the ACC. And we get a flag from the get-go.
Offside, defense, number 93 by contact. 5-yard penalty, first down.
Now, this was a problem for Mississippi State last week. 12 penalties. A big emphasis for the Bulldogs. Clean it up in week 2.
Got to keep yourself out of that early hole.
1st and 5, it's Zonovan Knight. He gains the edge, stays in bounds, and a patient runner picking up a first down close to the 40-yard line. NC State told us getting to the perimeter a big part of the game plan today.
Well, and if you've watched NC State football for the last decade, really, as Dave Doran's been here, you've seen that stretch zone, and when you're really running it well, your running backs getting to the edge like that are a great indicator.
Another penalty marker down.
Snap infraction, offense, number 50. 5-yard penalty, first down.
And so, Anish, up front right now, you're dealing with a silent cadence. You're getting the indicator from the quarterback, and then it's on the center from there. And Grant Gibson's a 2-time captain for them. They call him the mayor of Raleigh. This is a guy everyone raves about in this team. And so he's going to be able to shake this off early. The rest of this group's got to hold their water with him.
You played that position. You know it well. Leary throwing to the sideline, incomplete. Intended for their top receiver, Emeka Emezi. Impact players tonight brought to you by Chick-fil-A.
We're going to look at a couple of important names here. We talked about this running back room that's obviously so dynamic for this team. But you just mentioned Emeka Emezi, the consistent force at receiver here. And then Akeem Ekwonu, the load at left tackle. They're going to be running right down State Street with him leading the charge.
Empty set, Knight split wide. Leary steps up in the pocket. He'll run and brings it out to the 42-yard line. It sets up 3rd and 7. Aaron Brule, the junior from New Orleans, makes the tackle, and now the Cowbells on 3rd down.
And you see them upping the tempo, trying to get this chaotic Mississippi State defense to maybe make a mistake.
Taylor mentioned it's hard to change the play with this noise. Larry moves the pocket, looking downfield. Nobody open, misses the check down to Penix, and it's 4th down.
And you saw the importance there, Anish, of getting up to the line quick, snapping the ball early, because if you want to change the plays, you got to give yourself plenty of clock. But that Mississippi State defense managed to hold up. They're a kitchen sink defense, Anish. They're going to throw everything at you as an offense and see what sticks. And that time, able to force NC State into a punt.
Trenton Gill, highest career punting average of any punter in NC State history, will kick it away. And Jaden Wally waits. Marks. Johnson gets the call. And into the embrace of Drake Thomas. Thomas, Isaiah Moore, and Peyton Wilson, the 3 primary linebackers for NC State, the strength of that defense.
The absolute heartbeat. And Drake Thomas jumps off every bit of film you watch for this team. He is fiery. He is downhill and fast, which is the challenge for this linebacker group. Can you be patient against this offense?
Rodgers to throw on 2nd down. Underneath, it's caught by Makai Polk. The Cal transfer had 10 catches last week. Thomas again to stop. It brings up 3rd down, and that's important for NC State. They said, we'll give up 4 or 5 yards. We have to keep the ball in front of us, and we cannot allow yards after catch.
They've got to come downhill and hit them hard when they've got opportunities here. This was, in Mississippi State, one of 8 teams last year in Power 5 with over 1,500 yards after the catch. That's where they make their hay.
3rd and 5. NC State showing pressure. Wolfpack defensive coordinator Tony Gibson said they'll mix up coverages. And Mississippi State expecting to see a lot of zone. Rodgers on the check down, incomplete, off the hand of Wally, and 3 and out go the Bulldogs.
When we talked to Tony Gibson, their defensive coordinator, he said, we've got to take chances when we have opportunities. And watch right here, you're going to see all 4 linebackers up at the line of scrimmage, and then all 3 defensive linemen bail out when they go in and blitz here. Change the pre-snap look and the post-snap look for the quarterback and get him just off balance enough to throw an errant ball.
Tucker Day to punt, and it's Thayer Thomas, the return man. Day gets it off. It lands out of bounds. And NC State will have terrific starting field position here. Dave Doran, 9 seasons at the helm now. Overhauled his staff prior to last season. They won 8 games, played in the Gator Bowl, lost to Kentucky. Outside of one win against Notre Dame in 2016, they really haven't had that big non-conference Power 5 win.
And he said, we want to be a team that consistently wins double digits around here. That's everyone's goal, and this would be a great place to start.
Screen pass. Here's Emezi. 5th all-time in receptions at NC State. Top 10 in receiving yards as well.
And you're seeing tempo again. Mississippi State's going to give you a ton of looks on defense. 3 down, 4 down, blitz, zone droppers. getting them tempoed and up to the line of scrimmage going to be huge today.
Back to the edge, it's Thayer Thomas. The receivers Carter and Mezzi holding the fort. And a first down for NC State.
NC State, a program so synonymous with offensive line play, the trenches, that even the wide receivers smell a double team and start salivating out there. That's what they're going to need on the perimeter, and it's an area of strength for this offense.
Look at you, O-lineman. You light up when the receivers get involved with the blocking game.
Warms my very, very hefty heart.
Thomas motions. Larry pumps. Now checks down. C.J. Riley. He was the fastest receiver on this team a few years ago, then tore his ACL. A sixth-year senior taking advantage of the NCAA rule that granted everybody an extra year of eligibility last year with COVID.
And we talked about that being a strength for this team. 18 returning starters, 19 if you count Leary, who we know didn't finish last season because of injury. This is a very veteran-laden team. That's what you need to walk into this environment.
Bam Knight on second down. About 3 yards shy, 3rd and 3. Pressure coming. Larry's got time. Wants a Mezzi. Back shoulder throw. He holds it in. 1st and goal, NC State.
And they're right back up to the line, ready to go.
Mississippi State late getting set. Here's Thomas on the screen. Sheds a tackler. Fights his way inside the 5, down to the 2. 2nd and goal. Staying with tempo. Another screen. Thomas again. Stopped in his tracks. 3rd and goal. Jalen Green, the Texas transfer, and Emmanuel Forbes blew it up.
An outstanding job of stepping up to the challenge on the perimeter. Forbes, who had an outstanding freshman season last year. Now if you're this offense, we know they can run down State Street on that left-handed side, but with 3rd and 5 here, I think about getting Devin Leary on the move. A lot here on this defense they've got to worry about. Ricky Person in the backfield as well, the better pass catcher of these two running backs.
Now Larry goes wide. Direct snap. It's Person. Jump pass. Ends.
Giving Mississippi State a lot of juice right now if you're NC State.
Second to drive for the Bulldogs. They went 3 and out the first time, and that play went absolutely nowhere. Second catch for Polk, no gain.
And you can see right here shades of Tim Tebow in the Wildcat for Florida back in the day. But the decision to throw the pass into traffic right there, it was just never set up the right way. And Anish, with the way you were moving the ball, I didn't see a reason to deviate from your normal O.
Why? That's the question. You throw with Person, you get cute down near the goal line, it backfires. Rogers to throw. Line holding up. Rogers taking a lot of time, and he's tracked down by Peyton Wilson, the ACC's leading tackler a season ago.
Peyton Wilson in a nutshell right there. Never give up, never say die. They said in Pascalian practice, he's chasing guys 40 yards down the field. They've got the GPS tracker. He is logging unbelievable yardage. That's the kind of energy he brings.
They put him on a pitch count because he gets hurt all the time. That's part of the problem. Playing through a bit of a quad injury today. 3rd and long.
And this is where you got to start to mix it up if you're NC State on defense. We saw the pressure last time. Maybe drop back, give him some tough windows to throw to.
3-man rush. Rogers over the middle, incomplete, wanted Heath. Malik Heath did not play last week. He was unavailable. Second season with Mississippi State. 4th and 13. Another 3 and out. So Mississippi State has the touchdown. They've got the defensive stop. Offensively, nothing so far.
Nothing so far, but looking like you're going to be set up for decent field position yet again. There's no reason to panic on the sideline. That needs to be the message if you're everyone up and down that offense.
Be a goldfish.
It's the happiest animal in the animal kingdom.
4th and 13. And Tucker Day punts it away. And that's the second one that he has shanked. And NC State will start in plus territory when we come back.
Going to need a few more today.
Ricky Person gets the call. He and Zonovan Knight both went over 100 yards last week. Part of a 300-yard rushing effort for NC State. Almost 300, 293.
We talked about it in the open, Anish, especially when you're going at the pace this offense is right now. Being able to spell these guys is invaluable.
Back to Person. The left side, the stronger part of that NC State line. Taylor.
Guys, Tim Beck loves the flexibility of this offense, but he also likes being able to coach on the sideline. He had almost a decade of OC experience when he came here to NC State, but this is the first stop where he's coached down here on the sideline. Likes to be able to look them in the eyes. He did that after that last drive, and he said good drive. They obviously didn't like the end result, but they liked the way they were moving the football.
He told us from upstairs sometimes the menu's a little too big. The paradox of choice comes into play as Person gets the call, bouncing off tacklers and tripped up at the 30-yard line by Forbes. It's 3rd down. You call the plays down on the field. He said the decisions become a little quicker.
Anyone who's ever been to a Cheesecake Factory knows exactly what he's talking about there. Big-time menus can sometimes create difficulty. We saw that down in the red zone. Keep it simple on this 3rd down. Your quarterbacks had success going to the perimeter. Hunt matchups out there. Let your wide receivers continue to get you yards after the catch.
Larry throws incomplete, too high for Porter Rooks. And it's 4th down, and we'll likely see Christopher Dunn. Dunn is the NC State career record holder for most field goals made. And for his career, inside 40, he's 46 of 50, 55 of 63 inside 50. And this one a 48-yarder. Dunn's kick is no good. Twice, NC State had a short field. Their last drive ended with an interception in the end zone. This one ends with a missed field goal on the road. Hostile environment. Road games are real again. Those are 2 big missed opportunities.
They are. We talked about Tim Beck talking with Devin Leary on the sideline. The message has to be, you've got to be more decisive. You saw him there. Could have taken off. Put them in a position where maybe you've got 4th and short and you think about running behind that big line. Don't try and do too much. That's got to be the message for a quarterback who, as much as he feels like a veteran's only started 5 games for them.
Now the saving grace so far for NC State, the defense has played well. They have forced 2 3-and-outs. Rogers gives it to Dylan Johnson, and he is tripped up behind the line of scrimmage by Corey Durden, the Florida State transfer.
And you saw Durden working the inside there, going up against Charles Cross, the left tackle. You've got big, wide splits up front for this Mississippi State offensive line. It's one of the hallmarks of Mike Leach's version of the air raid, which gives the defender a lot of room to work with and then get back upfield to affect the play.
College football tonight. Utah, BYU renew their rivalry. I guess we're not allowed to call it by what it used to be called anymore. Rogers Has time. There's Johnson, erased immediately by Isaiah Moore. Well, defensively, the game plan has been on point. Not much yards after catch for Mississippi State. The tackling in space has been there for the Wolfpack.
And Isaiah Moore is the guy at the center of it all. Tony Gibson, their D coordinator, said if I went down, I think this guy could call the entire defense for us. And on third down, what have we seen? Them bring zone pressure, them back off and drop 8. I'd expect them to try and heat up Will Rogers and speed up that shot clock in his head a little bit.
The Bulldogs need the 40-yard line, 3rd and 7.
You see the defense checking out of it now, going to play coverage.
Jameer Calvin in motion. Rogers' pass nearly intercepted. A dangerous throw. Drake Thomas was in the area. And another 3 and out for Mississippi State.
And I think Drake actually got a hand on that coming around the edge. You saw that ball flutter, getting just enough and almost giving one of his buddies a chance to make a game-breaking play. You'll see coming off the edge right here, it's actually number 99, Daniel Joseph, gets around there and gets a paw.
So 3 consecutive 3 and outs. And Day, who's had punts of 20 and 29, will kick it away again. And Person devoured behind the line by Colin Duncan, the free safety.
We talked about the strength of NC State's defense being the linebacker core. You could say the same thing about these linebackers and safeties. Colin Duncan loves to be downhill, run up and hit. NC State's been running to the left heavy in the last couple of drives. They're going to need an off-speed pitch. Maybe leak Devin Leary out the backside of that, get him on the move as this defense starts to key in.
That is the strength of this NC State O-line with Ekwonu anchoring that left side. Emezi makes the catch, stretches across the 35. A gain of 7, 3rd and 5.
And again, for Devin Leary, got to make the picture clear right here. We saw him connect down the field with Emeka Emezi. He's the guy I'd be watching on this 3rd down. Right at the top of the formation, singled up.
Thomas, the motion man. Thayer Thomas, the first down catch for NC State. His 5th reception already in this first quarter.
And a great job taking advantage of all the attention paid to Emeka Emezi. You bring Thayer Thomas in motion. You use Emezi to run a pseudo pick play there and get a great pickup for first down.
Thayer Thomas.
Emezi runs up the field, clips both defenders.
Larry to throw, has time, clean pocket, and completes his pass. Devin Carter, the 6'4" redshirt sophomore who had a big 51-yard catch last week.
This is exactly what you need. This is the spot where you can pop a run when the tempo kicks in.
We come up on a minute to play in this opening quarter. And Person for a short gain, 2nd and 9.
Using a lot of motion on this drive. Give your quarterback information against a defense that likes to do as much, muddy the picture as Mississippi State when you spread them out sideline to sideline, similar to what Mississippi State usually likes to do on offense.
.29 Tootle, a tight end, but a converted wideout in the game for NC State. He had a touchdown last week. Bulldogs bring the pressure. Good protection. Thomas is open, close to the sticks. And 3rd and 2 coming up. Mississippi State sports helping us heal.
A lot of the players on the field not even old enough to have remembered this, but The coaching staff's feeling a duty to be teachers, to let these young men understand what happened in this country, the response that we saw, and what a lot of people are still dealing with today as a result of that. Certainly, your hearts go out to everyone that was affected, and some people still very much affected.
Best looking drive of the night for Mississippi State as Marks moves the chains. Woody Marks in the offseason got bigger, stronger, faster. Credits the team nutritionist who taught him how to cook. And he was eating healthy when he went home for the summer. Brought in by Tulu Griffin.
We talked about NC State's defense, the job they've done tonight, but the offense coming up short on a lot of these drives, putting them back out on the field. You're starting to see some of those snaps add up. Mississippi State's putting this thing all over the field. They're going to use the full 53 and a third, and you're starting to see guys slip off tackles a little bit here. Let's see if Mississippi State can get someone sneaking them deep down this field, take advantage of some guys maybe getting tired.
There's the toss. It's Marks. And he is met by a swarm of Wolfpack defenders. Shaheem Battle, first one in there. It's third down.
This is, again, where you got to keep an eye on the running back swing pass. The minute you start buying in on these guys going downfield, you're probably going to get some version of the crossing routes that we've seen here, that mesh that's such a staple of the air raid, and that running back can leak out to the short side of the field here and spring loose.
Mississippi State 0 for 3 on third downs. Last week, NC State held USF to 3 of 16 on third down. Marks going to be a little shy, fourth and short.
Going back to the same play, getting down close there. Mike Leach in this offense found a look they liked up front.
And fourth down, it appears the Bulldogs will go for it. Offense looking to the sideline. Special team stays on the sideline.
And again, I'd watch the running back to the short side of the field here. It's a great passing option. And with Mike Leach and how much he loves this play, if NC State uses this as an opportunity to get up and heat him up, watch out for the potential screen. Sneak him out the back door. We've seen them score down in the red zone with a guy like Jameer Calvin before.
Woody Marks is the running back, 9 catches last week. Rogers looks to Marks. And he is tackled for a loss. A stand by NC State. Shaheem Battle, the corner, with the TFL.
We talked about the running back swing as a staple to this offense. If you lose him while you've got all this motion and you're thinking about going over the top, you've got to keep your eye on that first key. This defense, an outstanding job. No, you know what? I knew we were going to get here eventually. It's better we get this out of the way in week 2 right now. My mom's listening and horrified.
Downfield and through the hands of Carter. They missed a chance there. Third down and 9.
But the parallels are uncanny, and that right there was the key. NC State's got to now find a way to try and manufacture some chunk plays here. A running back wheel down the field like we saw Person catch last week against South Florida, because the dink and dunk has worked between the 20s, but they haven't found the secret yet. Much like me. I'm trying, Mom. I'm trying.
We'll have to read your DMs on air next week now. 3rd and 9. Leary on the move. And has to throw it away.
Give a lot of credit to this Mississippi State defensive line. Anish, Randy Charlton, the rest of these guys getting penetration upfield. They're moving the front around on what is a big, bruising, imposing NC State offensive line. And it's muddied the picture up here for Elyria as they missed the shot earlier in the drive.
Austin Williams waits at his own 25 to return the Trenton Gill punt. Play clock down to 1. Good kick. Williams inside the 20 calls for the fair catch. Mississippi State still looking for that first offensive score of the night. That story to us yesterday as Johnson makes the catch for a short gain. He talked about the stress that he had as an assistant at Montana. His sister called him frantic. Finally, they were able to get a hold of their father, Bill, whose birthday happens to be today. And Bill is with us. He avoided tragedy, but you can only imagine how harrowing those hours must have been for the Doran family.
Terrifying for that family. We saw Gene Wojciechowski and the folks on game day did a great job talking to a lot of the coaches that were coaching through that day, that were affected by that day. But the meeting room for us went quiet. You could tell for Dave Doran, this is something that certainly never gets easier. And at that point, he's on the lucky side as we see Peyton Wilson right now, the player down for NC State.
Few guys try harder than Peyton Wilson. He's battled injuries in his career, played hurt most of last season. First team All-ACC linebacker.
Absorbs a big hit, but you don't see anything too out of the ordinary there. Mentioned surgery on both shoulders this offseason. And you certainly hope it's not that again as he walks to the sideline under his own power, but clearly in a lot of pain on that left side where you can see the shoulder brace under his pads.
He came into this game battling a bit of a quad bruise, off-season surgery on both shoulders. You'll be hard-pressed to find a tougher player in the ACC.
This linebacker group thrives on his energy. For Isaiah Moore, for Drake Thomas in there, they're going to have to pick up the slack and continue to provide that same juice to this group who's up against it now. Mississippi State's offense on that last drive found some of their mojo again.
Number 2, Jalen Scott checks in for Wilson. Three-man pressure. Rogers downfield into traffic. It's broken up. No flag. Calvin the Wazoo transfer the intended target. Tanner Ingle in coverage.
Tanner Ingle's a guy Tony Gibson, their defensive coordinator, singled out and said his energy on the field is great for us. Now, get 3 targeting penalties last season, so he's a guy that can border on reckless at times. But they said this defensive group feeds off him, and plays like that when he is in control, you can see why.
Calvin a little shaken up at the end of the play. He comes off the field. 3rd and 7. We have yet to see an offensive touchdown tonight. NC State drops 8. Rogers to the air, finds Austin Williams. First down at the 30. More than 40% of Williams' catches in his career have resulted in a touchdown or a first down.
And great protection here. You get drop 8, and we talked about that feel. Finds a spot in the zone, sits down. This is a smart guy. Carried a 4.0 GPA, working on his 3rd degree at Mississippi State right now.
Marks and Johnson, the running backs, both in there. Not much success on the ground today. Rogers to the air. Chased. Escaping. And throws it away wisely. Corey Durden, a Florida State transfer, in pursuit.
Even with 3 down linemen, you've got the opportunity to create pressure. Again, those big splits. 3 feet in between every offensive lineman up front for Mississippi State. And so for North Carolina State coming into this game, Their goal was to get some twists, to get some stunts up front, to try and make use of all that space.
Explain to our viewers why they use those wide splits offensively.
They want to make the picture clearer for Will Rogers. You spread guys out. Now all of a sudden, if a linebacker's leaning because he's going to blitz, he's got to show it a little more because you've spread them out naturally with that group. You get angles and one-on-one run blocks. It's all to try and make this picture a little more simple for the quarterback who's directing traffic.
A dropped pass by Makai Polk, and it sets up 3rd and long. Rogers spreading it out today. He's completed a pass to 6 different receivers, completed 1 to 8 last week. In fact, 8 different receivers had at least 2 catches, and there is the old Will Rogers line. I've never met a man I didn't like, and that holds true.
And here, I think he's got to like something a little bit deeper. We've seen one of the other air raid staples. Get one of your slot receivers going across the field, try and attack these linebackers who are great downhill guys, but maybe not the most effective in coverage.
Rogers, and that is caught. Let's see where they spot him. It'll be awfully close. Wally the catch, and he appears to have enough. It is a first down for Mississippi State.
Just a great timing throw here by Will Rogers.
They are going to measure.
I mean, you saw number 13, Tyler Baker-Williams, who's a great, important player in that nickel spot on this 3-3-5 defense, just past his outstretched arms, but he was coming back. We'll see if he gets close.
It is enough for a first down. NC State picked to finish 2nd in the Atlantic Division behind Clemson. Mississippi State picked to finish last in the absolute gauntlet. That's the SEC West. You put them in the East, middle of the pack team probably. Meanwhile, Peyton Wilson heading into the tunnel for NC State. There's Polk. Into Wolfpack territory all the way to the 42-yard line. Give him 16.
This is where it starts to get dicey for NC State's defense. You had to respect some of the rushes you saw on that last drive. You've got a 2-back set out here that's making you honor that. And now Will Rogers has started to soften the middle of this defense with some zone shots. You get another first down here into enemy territory. This is a great opportunity to fake something short, try and sneak a receiver deep down the field.
Rogers back to the air. Marks juggles it, and then punished by Isaiah Moore. And that was the MO for this NC State defensive coaching staff. They said when these receivers catch the ball, punish them.
And we've seen them sitting back in coverage a lot right now, Anish. I think NC State needs to let these guys up front pin their ears back a little bit here. Try and get one of these linebackers. Let Drake Thomas go downhill and do what he likes to do. We saw them get to Will Rogers, affect his throw before. He's gotten too comfortable back there behind this O-line.
Rogers, 16 out of 22, only 93 yards. Bulldogs only 100 yards of total offense. Dylan Johnson, nowhere to go. Got a yard and a half, maybe. It's Isaiah Moore again on the stop. 3rd down. And Johnson's helmet comes off, so by rule, he's got to come out for one play unless Mississippi State wants to use a timeout.
So now we've seen a couple successful 3rd down attempts for Mississippi State. They're cued in short on the running backs here. The 10th play coming up on this drive. Austin Williams in the middle of 3 at the top of your screen, at the top of this formation. Sure-handed guy Rogers trusts, like you said, first downs or touchdowns.
Williams, the motion man. NC State bringing pressure. Rogers looking for Polk, flag down. He's tackled immediately. The ball is incomplete.
Holding, offense, number 58. Penalties declined. 4th down.
Now that's Cameron Jones, the left guard. Mike Leach telling us this week that the O-line is his favorite position. He started off as an O-line coach, spent 10 years coaching that unit at Cal Poly, Iowa Wesleyan, Valdosta State. And although quarterbacks and receivers get all the attention in this offense, he said it starts up front on the O-line.
And it's the hardest to make the transition in this air raid as they're lining up and going to call a timeout right now. Think it over with 4th and long.
Timeout. Mississippi
Second
State.
timeout used by Mississippi
timeout.
State. This week's college football rankings brought to you by Allstate. Week 1 often leads to snap judgments, right? Well, Georgia finally gave up a score. Still beat the snot out of UAB. Alabama rolls. Ohio State. Hello, is the Pac-12. Have they risen from the dead with Oregon going to Columbus and winning the way they did?
Just remarkable for what that offense was able to do. Ohio State so much built on the identity of that defense that really struggled in the red zone to keep track of these guys. And I know you want me to talk about it. A nail-biter in South Bend against Toledo. The Irish with a last-second drive with under 2 minutes left to their tight end Michael Mayer to stave off an outstanding effort from Toledo.
You called that one well before kickoff. You said that's going to be closer than expected. Iowa now becomes a player in the Big Ten with Ohio State losing. Iowa scores a marquee win against Iowa State, a team that many see as a legitimate threat to Oklahoma in the Big 12. 4th down, 7 to go. Dylan Johnson in the backfield. Air raid set, of course, with a 4-receiver look. Trips to the field.
You're in no man's land here, Anish. I like the call.
Rodgers looking for Makai Polk, who brings it in for a 1st down. NC State declined the holding penalty before the timeout, so it was 4th and 7 instead of 3rd and 17, and Mississippi State converts.
I figured they assumed, like most people would in that spot, you'd elect for the field goal, something there. But Mike Leach is the rogue player at the blackjack table. The minute you think he's going to hit on 15 against a dealer face card, he's going to stay, let it ride, and sometimes the results can vary.
Less than 2 minutes to go in this first half. 4 catches for Polk. The toss to Johnson. And upended shy of the 20-yard line. We've gotten word that Peyton Wilson has been taken for x-rays now in the locker room. That's a significant loss for NC State, leading tackler in the conference a year ago.
And a guy we talked about who's built up that stamina to fly all over the field. Now you're getting guys not nearly as used in Jalen Scott as they're looking at that shoulder. Not as used to flying around the field for this many snaps, having to cover this area of the field.
It concerns you. He had surgeries on both shoulders in the offseason. 13th play of this drive. Polk, the motion man. Rodgers taking a shot downfield. Caught for a touchdown, Malik Heath. PAT by Rees is good, and a 2-score lead for the Bulldogs.
Anish, you look at this play, NC State risking it again, bringing pressure, which means you have one-on-one on the outside, and Shaheem Battle never able to get his head turned back around. An outstanding job of getting on top and stacking the receiver for Malik Heath and then getting the foot down.
This defense, coached by Zach Arnett from Mississippi State, has held NC State's experienced offense to a field goal. They've played their best once the Wolfpack have gotten inside the 40-yard line, and it's been timely plays. The touchdown to Heath, the kick return to begin the game. Kevin Connors is in the studio tonight.
And Anish, coming up on the DirecTV Stream halftime report. We'll have much more on the Cyhawk series. Sam Acho is going to show us which D was more dominant in that one. Plus, speaking of D, no Kayvon Thibodeau. How in the world did Oregon go into the horseshoe and beat Ohio State? Plus, Texas A&M and Notre Dame both tested. All coming up at the half. Anish, I know your partner, his team, living dangerously the past 2 weeks.
All right, I won't lie. I could not hear a word he said with the sound in this building.
We also like to live dangerously here in the booth. As he mentioned, the Irish get the win, but NC State has lived dangerously, not capitalizing in the red zone on all these offensive trips. You had multiple drives with great starting field position, and your defense finally gave way after what had been an otherwise stellar first half for them.
Well, NC State's got 3 timeouts. They've got 109. They've been able to use tempo successfully at times tonight. They've been able to move the field and move the ball down the field. They just have not been able to punctuate enough of their drives with scores.
No, but like you said, this is a great opportunity right now. All your timeouts a minute to go. You drill these situations all the time here. Everything is open to you right now. If you're Devin Leary, you've just got to be decisive. Get the ball out of your hands quick and allow your receivers to make plays, especially if Mississippi State gets antsy and starts to give you one-on-one coverage.
NC State gets the ball to begin the third quarter as well. To the sideline. And out of bounds, Devin Carter. Clock will stop. Second down. 5 to go. Only took a few seconds off the clock. Over the middle, Zonovan Knight. And a first down for Bam using the dive. That'll momentarily stop the clock until the ball is spotted. Pressure by the Bulldogs. Leary loads up, downfield for Emezi. Incomplete, covered well by Forbes. 2nd and 10.
We talked about Forbes, the freshman All-American, sticking with him because that time we did see a little bit of pressure from Mississippi State up front. Devin Leary had what he wanted. Vertical routes, 4 verts going for his guys. Gave him a shot.
Wolfpack have the 3 timeouts, middle of the field in play. Leary into coverage, incomplete. Wanted Carter.
Mississippi State's done a great job on the perimeter here. If you're Devin Leary, remember you've got those 3 timeouts in your pocket. Don't be afraid to exploit a matchup in the middle of the field and be ready to bang that timeout.
Bam Knight. Met first by Colin Duncan, nothing there. And let's see if Mississippi State elects to call a timeout. They do. Let some precious seconds run off the clock. Mike Leach, you know, that bag of tricks runs deep.
We saw the 4th and 7 decision after the declined penalty by Dave Doran.
Please reset the game clock to 30 seconds.
But again, you look at that spot and say 4th and 7. You decline it, maybe get a punt.
So 30 seconds to go. Hill gets it off. Williams from the 22. Cuts it up to the 30. And out of bounds at the 35. A flag down at the end of the play. And if this is against NC State, even without any timeouts, Mississippi State may have a chance for at least a long field goal.
The second guy coming over on this coverage unit. Anish, he's running towards out of bounds. There's just no need.
Personal foul. Late hit out of bounds. 42 kicking team. 15-yard penalty. First down.
And we talked about the second guy in here going towards out of bounds, wrapped up. And you'll see it better. Anish, I tell you what, looking at that now a second time here, that angle, that's a pretty borderline call. He's hanging over right on the edge of that out of bounds line. You're trying to make a play at that point. I don't like that call one bit. I understand player safety is always going to be an issue. You're going to err on the side of caution in that spot. But special teams, you're making decisions going 1,000 miles an hour there. And that one to me was borderline.
Danny Blakeman flagged for the penalty. So how do you navigate this now? You're right around midfield, 21 seconds, no timeouts.
You're taking shots towards the sideline here, trying to see if you can get a big chunk on this first play here. Get a guy going out of bounds to stop the clock and get set to fire and load one up here. 21 seconds. You're trying to get yourself in range, but make sure you get towards the sideline right now. Can't afford to be tackled in the middle of the field.
Brandon Reeves missed a kick from 50-plus last week. His career long is 52. From midfield. Second down.
And this is where Will Rogers has to display what we just saw there, the intelligence to know if it's not there, cover it up, throw it out of bounds, live to fight another play.
Rogers caught and a big hit. A flag comes in back by the line of scrimmage. Tyler Baker Williams made the tackle. Calvin made the catch.
Holding, offense number 69. 10-yard penalty, second down.
Now you see hits like that, and the first thing these days that goes through your mind is targeting. No penalty on the hit. They do call holding on Quatravius Johnson, starting at right guard this week. Mike Leach told us he'd be available despite an arrest earlier this week for malicious mischief.
And this just another in a string of front seven penalties on Mississippi State in key spots. That gain right there, you were going to be cooking. And instead you see him get that hook on the smaller rusher.
So now, final seconds, and Rogers just shovels it to Woody Marks. Marks to the outside, still going. First half today for NC State. And they will feed Bam Knight, who gets the edge. And stuffed shy of the 30. Down to Taylor.
Well, Anish, it is still really hard to hear, and that was the first thing I asked Coach Doran. Do you feel like the atmosphere is impacting his offense at all? He said, no, it's completely on us. He said, we are 2 for 9 on third down. We have to be better. We have to finish drives. But he said, credit to Mississippi State for the way that they've shut down our run game. He said, we feel like we got it going early, and then they made adjustments. And he said, here in the second half, we have to pick that back up. This run game, a huge part of this NC State offense.
They averaged better than 7 yards a rush in the opener, less than 3.5 tonight. Larry bootlegs. And it's the quarterback run. Devin Leary taken out of bounds by Cameron Young. Third down, so this is what Taylor was talking about. Can the Wolfpack be better on third downs?
And it starts with protecting up front. Mississippi State's defensive line has done a great job getting pressure even when they haven't been blitzing here. Jaden Crumity, Randy Charlton, these guys have been knifing up field.
Thayer Thomas in motion. Here's the pressure. Larry throws it up in the air, a wounded duck. And it's caught by NC State. Carter brings it in for a first down.
Let me tell you what, Anish, there's no fancy breakdown for that. That is not a ball that should have been thrown. And that is a ball they somehow managed to catch. Now, Carter's a big target here. That's a 6'4" body. You give him a chance, but throwing back across your body in the middle of the field, I think we're all taught from the time we're in Pop Warner that's a bad idea, and somehow it works out.
NC State gets a fortunate break. Bam Knight again has an opening. to midfield, churning, lost the football at the end, and the Bulldogs jump on it. Perhaps little karmic retribution, the football gods may be righting a wrong from the previous play.
And a testament to, we talked about for NC State, linebackers coming up and hitting. This is Jet Johnson coming in late here in the play. Watch 44 Maroon get a shot right on the ball. As Knight's doing right here, he's trying to twist and turn, but doesn't hold on to the ball in traffic. Leaves it loose like that, and when these hats rallying to the ball, we're talking with my dad pregame, was on the radio call tonight, said this Mississippi State defense like a bucket of minnows, and that time they looked like a bucket of sharks.
Jalen Green recovered the fumble. He had an interception earlier. And Mississippi State starts at its own 46. Woody Marks tackled for a loss. I was wondering there if maybe the Bulldogs come out, take a shot, off sudden change. They elect to go to the ground game. It hasn't really produced much today. 8 carries, 13 yards as a team.
It's just about making you think. It's just like the running back swing passes. They got to those Will Rogers shots down the field because you were able to make them honor it just enough, especially at the linebacker level.
Rogers throws. Austin Williams wide open. Inside the 25, pushed out by Engel. And there's the shot.
And this is built off another one of those short plays. They fake the wide receiver screen to that formation. You see Will Rogers pump out towards the sideline. Right here, you'll see the receiver stop, and then they send the 2 guys that would walk up like blockers down the field on go routes. And now you get a wide open shot for Will Rogers. A great call, taking advantage of the short action.
And a flag down.
Offense. 12 players are on the field. 5-yard penalty, first down.
And this has been the ebb and flow for Mississippi State. Great play, holding call. Great play, illegal substitution. And now they're down near the red zone here. So they're going to have a chance to erase this mistake, but you've got to stop shooting yourself in the foot if you want to keep NC State out of this game.
Mississippi State has led throughout, not like last week when the Bulldogs trailed by 20 and roared back in that fourth quarter. Rogers has time, clean pocket. There's Marks, his 7th catch, and drilled back at the original line of scrimmage. 2nd and 10 upcoming.
And again, you've got all this respect on the perimeter here. Won't be surprised when we see Jaden Wally, number 11, or maybe Jameer Calvin, number 6, coming across the middle of the field from left to right, from right to left. Again, that Y cross, such a huge staple of the air raid. And when you've got as much attention now on the outside for what you've done on this drive, that middle of the field can start to open up if you get another 2 safety look here.
Dylan Johnson replaces Marks in the backfield. 2nd and 10. Johnson up the gut inside the 15-yard line. 3rd down coming up. Daniel Joseph with the stop.
Still surprised we haven't seen a wide receiver screen for Mississippi State tonight. 3rd and short right here, again, with a coach who loves to gamble. Could be a great spot to try and pop someone loose for a walk-in touchdown. As NC State's love to get aggressive as we get closer and closer down here and those windows start to shrink.
Last week, Mississippi State 5 trips in the red zone, 5 touchdowns. 1 for 1 tonight with a touchdown. Rogers underneath. There's that sit route for a first down. A gain of about 5. And it's Austin Williams.
We talked about they led FBS football in just over 50 attempts a game last year. It turns into a ball control offense. Time of possession is not something you'd think of for an air raid school, but this is how they want to live. Slowly, death by 1,000 cuts.
Rodgers has Jameer Calvin. Rather, that's Tulu Griffin.
And this is the area you saw it on that last play. Those crossing routes in the middle of the field start to become an option here. Try and spring a guy loose if you've got man, but you've seen these receivers very comfortable starting to see these zone holes in NC State's defense.
Wally Williams and Polk bunch to the right. Rodgers looks that way, looks off, has a running lane, now throws it into the end zone. Touchdown! Welcome to Wally World. Nolan New as Thayer Thomas hauls it in at the 40 for a first down.
And Anish, you've already seen the effect of that in the sky is falling conversations around Clemson's college football playoff chances. They get a little bit of relief today with the Ohio State loss, now giving who many predict to be the Big Ten champion one loss on the resume. But we saw that trickle-down effect. These out-of-conference matchups matter, especially when we've got them again for the College Football Playoff Committee.
It's a long season, and that is the caveat, as Person got the call. But these early season non-conference tilts shape conference perception. And look at what's shaping up right now. Mississippi State was picked to finish last in the SEC West. NC State picked to finish behind Clemson in the Atlantic.
And this was something we didn't get last year. Heather Dinich, who does a great job covering the playoff for us, and that selection committee knows they were looking for these resume points, these data points again in 2021. As we get another catch here by Devin Carter. Very close to a first down, and it looks like he's got it.
Devin Leary pumps. Now he's flushed. Gets away. Hit as he throws it.
Anish, Devin Leary.
Hold on. The ruling on the field is a fumble. Sorry, Mike. NC State does recover. And now they can look at that to see.
The ruling on the field of the fumble recovered by the offense. The previous play is under further review.
Now, so they'll see fumble or incomplete. Was the arm going forward is what we're checking. Broke his leg against Duke. Screen pass, nearly intercepted. Tyrus Wheat, who had a pick last week, almost had another.
Just a great job reading the release by the running back. PC doesn't buy into the offensive lineman letting him go past, doesn't sell enough on the screen up front.
Has NC State been too predictable offensively tonight?
Absolutely. It's been all run to the left here. It's been everything short. This has not been a unit that's been able to get Mississippi State off balance at all up front.
Bulldogs showing pressure. They'll rush 5. Leary gets away, heaves it downfield, incomplete. Jalen Green was in the backfield, a safety blitz. He's got a pick and a fumble recovery today. And this Mississippi State defense has been a big story tonight.
They've been a huge story. Zach Arnett's unit has done just the opposite. They've managed to get Devin Leary off balance here. We were talking to these coaches and said, you know, it's hard for a coordinator to get another coordinator off balance or off rhythm. But you can get an 18, 19, 20-year-old kid. And for Devin Leary, who, again, been here for a bit but only started now 5 games, these are still things he can be seeing for the first time.
Wally to field the punt. And we get a whistle.
Delay a game, offense. 5-yard penalty, fourth down.
You go back to last week talking about this Mississippi State defense. Big plays were really the culprit. Gave up a 72-yard touchdown pass, a 59-yard touchdown run, a 24-yard TD pass. All the scoring drives for Louisiana Tech on drives of 3 plays or less, the ones that led to touchdowns. Wally from his own 18. A nice return up to the 29. Extra Yard for Teachers Week is an annual effort led by the College Football Playoff Foundation that brings college sports together to support and honor great teachers across the country at games and on social media. To learn more about Extra Yard for Teachers, follow at CFP Extra Yard. And Mike Leach is a teacher. He was a surprise participant in a Zoom meeting for the faculty at Henderson Ward Stewart Elementary School during Teacher Appreciation Week.
Guy who's taught a few classes himself.
He has.
The difference is him auditioning to try and show kids, hey, when you're getting ready to sign up for those classes, this could be your future.
And we get a whistle and a flag.
False start, offense, number 69. 5-yard penalty, first down.
That's Johnson, the right guard. Remember when Mike Leach was thinking about his class at Washington State? He put out a tweet, hey, is there any interest? And the overwhelming response was yes, which I would expect the same response here at Mississippi State.
Manifesting on Twitter, it's all the rage these days, and it seems to work out well. Follow your dreams, kids. Tweet that tweet.
Hard class to get into, though. 1st and 15 now after the penalty. There's the screen. That's Jameer Calvin. 2nd and 9 coming up. Calvin, 3 catches and a touchdown last week.
And we've seen on this drive, the penalties certainly not helping Mississippi State, but the run action, the play fakes, been sucking up the linebackers for NC State, and that was the charge for Tony Gibson in this defense. We know this group wants to be aggressive and downhill, but you've got to pick your time before you go ahead and shoot those gaps.
And no Peyton Wilson out there for NC State, the ACC's top tackler last year. Left the game, had x-rays on his shoulder. Incomplete for ducking, and it's 3rd down. Taylor.
Peyton Wilson down here on the sideline. He is out for the rest of the game with ice pack on his left shoulder, but he's still a huge part of this defense. You can hear him being a vocal leader. He's in the linebacking group here when they're on the sideline, encouraging them and telling them we still have time.
Well, we saw it from Mississippi State just a week ago. Down 20 in the 4th quarter, they rally back to win.
So they know better than anyone that this game is not over, and that's got to be the message that you learned last week on the sideline right now.
On 3rd down, Rodgers to the air. Completes. And Johnson tripped up about 1.5 yards shy of the line to gain. I know Mike Leach is a gambler near midfield, 18-point lead. 4th down. Now this may be one where he rolls the dice.
Out there having to adjust on the fly.
Fair catch is called for and made inside the 10-yard line. NC State did have the return man, Thayer Thomas, and maybe the tell there was what we saw during the commercial break. 2 separate huddles on the Mississippi State sideline. One the offense, one the punt team, and Mike Leach decides to get a little sneaky.
Always got to do it his own way. Would you probably have had the punt safe team out there, meaning you keep the defensive starters up front, you're worried about a fake, you're worried about them going for it? Absolutely. Is this way more fun to watch? You betcha.
Sinatra did it his way, too. It worked for him. Ricky Person starts in the backfield. How does NC State get going offensively again?
I think you've got to feed those backs on the ground. Let them get comfortable again. A couple of balls on the mat. You can't go away from it, though.
The last drive was promising before the fumble. Devin Leary downfield has a man wide open, incomplete. Anthony Smith was all alone. If he hits him, it's a 91-yard touchdown.
Football's a complicated game, but it's really simple when it comes right down to it, Anish. Mississippi State has capitalized on their shot plays. When they've had guys down the field open, Will Rogers has made the throws, and Devin Leary has come up just short on these.
Mississippi State was burned by the big play last week. Nearly happened again, and now contact along the line of scrimmage.
A lot of pointing. A lot of pointing.
False start, offense, number 54. Half the distance is goal penalty, second down.
You played O-line, so when you know it's on you and you point, is there a sense of shame or guilt on your end?
Oh, yeah, you're trying to cover up for your own mistake there. The worst is when you fall backwards and you can feel it coming. This one right here, he had more of a legitimate claim to. The defense has been inching close, trying to show those blitzes, but there's no doubt it is a cover-up in the works.
2nd and 14. Larry's got to get rid of it. He does. It's Person. And out of bounds is some breathing room for NC State, but it sets up a big third down here. You don't convert, Mississippi State likely starts with a short field.
And unfortunately, you're forced to go deep again now. You're forced to get these receivers down the field, which is an area that he has struggled.
Incomplete for Thomas. Covered by Green. And the Wolfpack will punt it away from deep in their own zone.
It's been tough, Anish. NC State hasn't really been able to find a receiver that can.
On 1st and 10. Another strong run by Marks. Gets a couple, and that clock continues to run. Another scoring opportunity inside the 40 for Mississippi State. Less than 2 minutes to go here in the third. NC State defensively without one of its best players in Peyton Wilson, out for the game. Ice on his shoulder.
We talked about it, the communication that you need to go in against this offense, especially on the second level. You can't overstate that. And so now you take one of those chains out of the link, and it becomes a little bit tougher for everyone involved. Drake Thomas, Isaiah Moore having to carry more.
On 2nd and 8. Rogers slings it over the middle, nearly intercepted. A little behind Wally. Kevin.
Anish, Arkansas is dominating Texas right now. Raheem Sanders. Acho, this is bonkers.
Yeah, what a run, first of all, by Raheem Sanders. But yes, Texas is on upset alert, down 33-7, going into the 4th quarter.
Matchup of old conference foes, Anish, soon to be conference foes again.
Taylor McGregor, Arkansas alum on the sideline. Thoughts?
This is awesome. I, as a student, never got to see Arkansas face Texas, but of course I always heard about the Southwest Conference and how big of a rivalry they were, so it's pretty cool to see it come to fruition.
Off the hands of Ra Thomas, the freshman. Taylor was bullish on an upset as we get a flag.
Was really hoping someone was going to give us an
After
Arkansas.
The play, personal foul, unnecessary roughness, offense, number 69, 15-yard penalty. The down counts, 4th down.
Yeah, and that's a backbreaker. You were right there on the cusp of a long field goal potentially. And you get the sense NC State will need some kind of a spark here, either from its defense or special teams.
Let's look for the late hit at the end right here. There must have been a finish after that, because that would not have been nearly enough for a call. But again, another one of those spots, they haven't been burned by these penalties much. You've seen them be able to overcome a lot of them, but here, too critical of a spot here, and it looks like the penalty declined again this time. Going to bring out the punt team.
And this is a spot, too, unless there's a game-changing special teams play. NC State likely starts deep in their own zone. And really, since the first quarter, they've struggled to move the ball. This one takes a Wolfpack bounce, and they'll start at the 25-yard line. Are you ready for Monday Night Football? The 52nd season kicks off in a few days. Lamar and the Ravens in Vegas to take on Derek Carr and the Raiders. Lamar may have to run it 20 times. The Ravens' running room just decimated in the last 2 weeks. J.K. Dobbins, Justice Hill, Gus Edwards, all out with season-ending injuries. They go get Latavius Murray. We may see Le'Veon Bell.
I would say the running back room needs name tags, but they've got 3 former 1,000-yard rushers when you throw Devonta Freeman in there as well. So well familiar with these names. Need the production.
Bam Knight gets the call on first down and does not get very far. It's almost becoming choreographed now. When NC State runs, Mississippi State knows it's going left.
And NC State loves the idea of being able to run in the obvious spots here, but at some point you've got to mix in misdirection.
Now this time they try to go the other way, and they chose poorly. Well, you talked earlier about the counter coming back to this offense. The run game after almost 300 yards in week 1, non-existent really today.
And this offense doesn't know how to function without it now. 3rd and long again. And we've seen them dump it off to the running back. The offensive line's got to be able to protect for longer, because Mississippi State's been getting pressure on Devin Leary, and that's when he's been making poor decisions, putting the ball in harm's way.
Larry to the air. He's got a Mezzi stopped in his tracks. Emmanuel Forbes, the freshman All-American a season ago. And the Bulldogs take an 18-point lead to the 4th quarter. How would NC State answer the kill goal? But really, since that first quarter, Mississippi State defensively has made plays in space. We haven't seen many deep balls. We haven't seen many explosive plays. The numbers bear it out.
And Anise, sometimes when things don't work out for you early, as a play caller, as a human being, it's easy to get deterred. We always knew as an offensive line, if we shut down a team's designer blitz the first time, we'd never see it again. And when you saw that trick play, that pop pass down in the low red zone, it might have taken some of the wind out of this NC State offensive sails.
Will Rogers, the second-year quarterback, moving the pocket, had time, and he's got Dylan Johnson, who hammerheads all the way to the 39 of NC State.
Big night for the Mississippi State offensive line. You're only getting a 3-man rush, and so you're doing exactly what you need to do. Give your quarterback time to keep his eyes down the field and keep him clean. They shouldn't get home, and they aren't right now. But this is big development for a group that's got to absorb a lot of change playing in this air raid.
Now remember, this was a Mississippi State team last year that offensively inconsistent, but did surprise some people with how good they were defensively at times. Tulu Griffin, who opened this game with a 100-yard kick return touchdown, moves the chains.
And they're taking advantage, making this linebacker group run right now. We know NC State wants to come down and make hits, but they're off balance. They've got to account for too much, because this Mississippi State offense has hit in every spot of the field. The heat map would be all over the place right now.
That was what the NC State coaches said when you watch Mississippi State. Anything at any time is possible on both sides of the ball. Safety blitz. And somebody's helmet came off. Charles Cross, the left tackle, lost his helmet, so he'll have to come out for a play.
Charles Cross, the former 5-star recruit. You watch big C.J. Clark, the nose guard right here. You've got a corner blitz coming from that side, works across the center's face, makes an unbelievable play up front. Negative yardage plays. This defense has got to start to stack some of these up playing downhill again.
Another three-man rush. Rogers checks down again. Dylan Johnson muscles his way to the 15-yard line. First down, Bulldogs. Another catch for Johnson. His 6th.
This is what we talked about as we see an NC State player down on the field right now.
It's C.J. Clark, the nose tackle.
Well, first off, the guys on the field have to start by making plays. That's what's going to incite this group. But we talked about having an older team. Those voices have to start to show up, your leaders on that sideline.
And now pressure. Rogers floats one into the end zone. Incomplete coverage by Derek Pitts. Will Rogers basically has grown up in the air raid offense. His dad, a high school football coach in Mississippi. He's been running the air raid since he was 7 years old. They've been watching Mike Leach film from Leach's days in Lubbock and the Palouse.
And Mike Leach mentioned that ability, watching film. He said a lot of guys watch film because they think they have to. He watches film with a purpose. He understands what he's looking for as a coach's son.
Rogers over the middle, too high for Polk. And that was Engel again, lowering the shoulder. Polk is slow to get up. Every time Tanner Engel is involved in one of those plays, NC State gets antsy on the sideline, ejected 3 times for targeting last year. That looked clean at first glance. It is a defenseless player, but he gets him below the shoulders.
Nothing in the head or neck area, no lowering the crown of the helmet, none of the indicators that you would normally see of targeting in that spot.
And he turned, so you can see he was trying to avoid that head-on collision, but Polk is down. Cal transfer. 4 catches today, 10 catches in the opener. Let's check in quickly with Kevin.
A&H Mackenzie Milton got the start for Florida State against Jacksonville State. Acho, how about this dart right here?
Yeah, what a story, Mackenzie Milton.
Wyatt Rector hauls it in. It's 14-7 at the half on the ACC network.
Now Florida State, even in a defeat last week to Notre Dame, a lot of goodwill came out of that game. Not just Mackenzie Milton, the feel-good story of the year, but the progress Mike Norvell has made in year 2.
Absolutely. That defense was flying around fast, playing upfield, and just looked confident. Something that in year 1, with all the offseason consternation, maybe wasn't there with that squad.
On 3rd down, Rogers to the air. Rolling to his right. There's a flag down. And that's coming back. That's a hold. We'll see if NC State accepts the penalty. I think you have to here to push this field goal further back.
100%. You don't want to give them a chance for easy points right here. Push them back, see if your defense can make another splash play behind the line of scrimmage, maybe take him even further.
Holding, offense, number 78. Penalties declined. 4th down.
Earlier in this game, NC State declined a holding penalty. Mississippi State went for it converted on 4th and 7 instead of a 3rd and 17. That ended up being a scoring drive.
And that one was at least more defensible, maybe 10, 15 yards behind where they are now. This clearly in field goal range here.
Unless the thinking is it's a 3-score game either way. Nolan McCord will attempt the field goal, so a break system in each of his first 3 seasons. Finally continuity this year with Tim Beck returning as OC. Completes to Trent Penix on first down. Penix is one to watch this year for NC State. They're going to play him in that Jalen Samuels role as that hybrid switchblade.
A middle-of-the-field mismatch. Tight ends, college football, NFL have become the most important commodity in the game for that reason.
Larry is sacked. Jaden Cromedy. He tipped the field goal attempt by Louisiana Tech last week to seal the win for Mississippi State.
And Anish, what a great job getting him matched up. When you see all these bodies lined up on the line of scrimmage here, it gets the offensive line to slide away. And so what do you have? A big D-line body like Jalen Cromedy matched up on a running back here. Ricky Person tries to throw his body in the way, but it's not nearly enough.
And Larry's helmet came off. He's out of the game for a play. Ben Finley is in on 3rd and 13. Finley throwing. He's got Carter who dropped it. And that's an interesting decision because Dave Doran could have used the timeout. And then you could have brought Larry back in on 3rd and long.
And I know you'd like to keep those for later, but man, it's getting late early here. I don't know why you don't spend that. Keep your veteran on the field. It was going to have to be 4-down territory at this point for you to put your backup quarterback in that spot at such a critical juncture here. We've talked about some of the errors here on the coaching side here, declining some of these penalties, and now that spot may stick out as much as any.
3 straight 3-and-outs for NC State. This Bulldog defense has answered the call. Outstanding punt by Gill. And Wally out of bounds across the 35. Taco Bell welcomes you to the Liv Mas student section of the year contest. Use hashtag StudentSectionSauce to get the committee's attention, and go to ESPN.com/Taco Bell to see how your school can compete. Wow, it just got quiet all of a sudden. A cowbell has the same decibel level as a chainsaw. I did not know that. There's an injured NC State player on that far sideline, and this is not good. It's Isaiah Moore. Remember Peyton Wilson, the ACC's leading tackler, first-team all-conference last year, out for the game with a shoulder injury. Moore is one of the best players on this defense. He wears that #1 jersey, a point of pride for the program. It goes to the player that best represents Wolfpack football on and off the field. Taylor.
Let me tell you, Mike Leach, though, his team might be up by 21 points, but he is telling them to put the pedal to the metal. He says, you have to win this part of the ball game. He says, this is the most important part, and I need to see you guys win it.
This is still a very young Mississippi State team in a year where a lot of teams that were old last year because of the NCAA rule that granted everybody an extra year of eligibility, those teams remained old this year. So Mississippi State last year playing the freshmen, the true freshmen, those guys do have another year under their belt. But the way they won last week and what they've done tonight, you get the sense, given the opponent, you are watching not just a team but a program slowly coming of age here.
Well, and last week is exactly why Leach is so adamant right now. Because he can say to these guys, remember what we did last week on the other side. Shoe on the other foot of this situation. It's an easy transfer point that now you can say to this offense, look at their defense reeling. 2 of their leaders in that linebacking core. You've got a chance to go out here and step on their necks and end this game if you execute the way we can.
There's the shotgun split back look, which Mississippi State has gone to a ton tonight. Rogers looks off marks, instead finds Heath. And he's up to the 46-yard line, 2nd and 2. That's where this game has been different since about the middle of the second quarter. Mississippi State has been better on first down. It sets up the rest of their drive, the rest of their series. NC State has struggled to gain traction on first down.
Mississippi State last year was 105th in the nation at yards per play at just under 5 yards. But when you throw it 50 times a game, that can add up to a lot of ball control drives for you as they put it on the mat right here.
Put it on the mat. Mark's able to recover, and it sets up third down. And not to overstate it here, this feels like it's the ball game. NC State needs a stop here.
A huge third down right in this spot. We've seen them exploit the running back in the short area of the field here. But I would have eyes on 85 Austin Williams. He was so dependable in these zone holes early in the game here. And this NC State defense, we've seen them. Tired, worn out, plenty of dirt all over these jerseys here. You wonder if they've got enough for one more blitz or if they're going to hang back and try and let it come to them.
Knocked down, it's incomplete. Looking for Heath. Engel, the Tasmanian Devil, got in there. And 4th and 4, and the door still ajar for the Wolfpack.
And it's a great job by NC State's defense. We talked about all the guys they lost. Again, Tony Gibson said, Tanner Engel, when he's on the field, is the energy guys for us. And we heard from Taylor before. That's a sideline that's beaten down right now. I've been on plenty of those, Anish. There can be that sense of, here we go again, when we're in a brutal spot, when it's not going our way.
10 players on the line of scrimmage for NC State. Punter goes down. Did not see a flag. Ball into the end zone. And App State, the giant killers. NC State down 3 scores, 9:59 to go. Ball at the 20-yard line. Ricky Person, the running back. Devin Leary is going to take a shot. And it's incomplete. They wanted Anthony Smith getting some run tonight.
There hasn't been a lot in the intermediate in this NC State offense tonight. It's been all these deep Hail Mary shots, low percentage throws for them. When you're sitting up there in this offensive huddle right now, you've been beaten down for a while. The last 3 possessions have been all 3 and outs for a total of 13 yards. You just need to see something good happen. Get an easier throw for your quarterback.
And we've seen that a lot. 2nd and 10, 2nd and 9, 2nd and long. That's complete. Dylan Parham, the tight end. It sets up third down. At this point, you have to consider this 4-down territory.
But at least you're in quick game territory now. That offensive line, like you said, has been in long yardage situations for so long. Now you can jump on these D linemen, these linebackers that have been trying to raise hell in front of you the entire night.
NC State today just 3 of 14 on third down. Four-man rush. Person. Denied. Emerson, the tackle in space. And it's 4th down. And the offense, I think, has to stay out on the field here.
There's no question, and you've got to start throwing past the sticks in that spot. Hoping for yards after catch. This Mississippi State defense has shown you they can come up and hit. You have got to get these receivers beyond the sticks, sit them down, and say, make a tough catch and get the first.
But Wheat finished him off.
And I don't know why they're slowing down. This tempo's worked well for them in the past. You're giving this Mississippi State defense time to set you up.
Precious seconds ticking off, down 3 scores. Thrown behind Carter. There's been a lot of miscommunication today with Carter and Larry. A couple of drops from Carter, too.
And these are the things you don't want to see. We've talked about year 2 in this system. Finally having an offensive coordinator for more than 1 season. If you're Devin Leary and Tim Beck, as another big third down approaches.
Now, what are you looking to do here on 3rd and 7? There is a flag.
After the play, personal foul, unnecessary roughness, offense, number 79. 15-yard penalty. The down count, 3rd down.
Ike Ekwonu, and that is a backbreaker for the Wolfpack. Not what you want from your all-ACC left tackle.
And it's been a much cleaner night for them on that side. These critical situations, though, your leaders up front, we talk about him, Grant Gibson, your two-time captain. You've got to keep a level head while everyone else is struggling to stay afloat.
You may have a lot of plays for 3rd and 7. You don't have as many on 3rd and 22. Knight motions out. 5-man pressure. Larry heaves it downfield. And it's brought in by Emezi. So that time they connect down to the 11-yard line. 7:28 to go in regulation.
And now we pick up the tempo again. Try and see if you can catch Mississippi State on their heels. It was the same formula. Motion the back out, get a clear picture, and drop a dime in.
Bam Knight fights his way to the 6-yard line. 5 catches, 84 yards today for Emezi. And he is now alone in 4th place on the all-time receptions list at NC State.
And I know there's 7 minutes left, but a lot of time starting to tick off here for your team. You're on the left hash. You can get your quarterback rolling to his right hand if you want.
Thomas in motion. Ball hits the ground. Larry's got to eat it. 3rd down. Flag down.
After the play, personal foul, unnecessary roughness, offense, number 6, 15-yard penalty. The down counts, 3rd down.
Now that's Trent Penix. And Dave Doran's look sums up the frustration on that sideline.
Talked about a veteran team. These are not supposed to be the mistakes veteran teams make. The rest of it you can correct. This is something that's a real problem. Because now again it turns into Devin Leary having to heave it down the field. There's no in between now.
This is goal to go. Empty set. Leary's pass nearly intercepted. It's incomplete. Wanted Tootle. And now it's 4th and goal from the 21.
This seems to be where they found a comfort level. Probably going to see them motion the back out again, try and give Devin Leary information, whether it's man or zone, and then he's going to have to take a shot. Emezi has been his guy, number 86.
Now they need a touchdown or a penalty from the defense that gives them a 1st down. Pressure coming. Leary trying to escape, and he's sacked. It's Forbes on the corner blitz. And the Bulldog defense makes a statement again.
Forbes, Emerson, this entire defense have gotten underneath NC State's skin. This time you've got them in the boundary right here, so you can disguise it right up until the last snap, and they know Leary's going to be going for the end zone. He's got to hold on to it a longer time, and a great job of rushing to that upfield hip and just getting enough, hog-tying him around the ankles.
Our crew was talking earlier in the week, when you turn on the film from the Louisiana Tech game, Mississippi State's breakdowns defensively were singular plays. We didn't see Louisiana Tech really string together long drives against them. NC State was able to put together a couple of drives early. They couldn't score. That was another one, their best-looking drive of the second half before the penalty. This is a defense that has learned how to bend and not break, and you would have to assume offensively, Mississippi State, while they haven't been great in the first two games, if they continue to improve, the more comfortable they get in the air raid system, by season's end, no one's going to want to play here.
They were able to defeat tempo, which is something that's hurt that defense. The kickoff return for a touchdown to start this game gives them an early lead. They weather a few of the storms and bow up in the red zone. And so now you take NC State completely away from what everything had worked, spreading the ball to the perimeter and using the speed of that offense to negate some of that defensive playmaking.
Will Rogers on the run. Throws it downfield, incomplete. Clock stops with 5:19. Arkansas hammered Texas. We've got close games in Miami and even Florida State. Kevin Connors, what do you got?
Well, at East Miami kicked a field goal to take a 2-point lead. 4th and 6 for App State. Chase Bryce. It is not to be. Slingshots in hand, but no slaying giants tonight. The Canes hang on. They get Sparty next.
A sigh of relief for the ACC, but all things considered, NC State on the verge of going down to Mississippi State. Watching Arkansas beat Texas by 3 scores. The SEC this year, it's not just Alabama, it's not just Georgia. The first few weeks in some of these non-conference games, we're seeing how strong the middle of this league is.
It's been beyond impressive. You and I were talking last week when we were calling a game in the Big 12. The SEC is, in a lot of ways, offensively become what the Big 12 once was, as we've seen defenses in that conference start to bow up. Lane Kiffin and company holding up on defense, putting up video game offensive numbers still for Ole Miss. The middle of this conference, the rising tide that we've seen that has been Alabama and Georgia, now starting to lift a lot of the rest of these ships.
Ole Miss was a team that has shown some improvement defensively, small sample size. We get a timeout with 4:30 to go.
Mississippi State. Their second timeout of the half.
Barring an NC State miracle, if this score holds, what's the Monday narrative surrounding the ACC?
A lot of soul searching that has been attacked for depth outside of Clemson here. Who's going to step up? North Carolina, I think, was the biggest thorn in the side of that through week 1. But this for NC State, you're supposed to be a veteran team doing decidedly unveteran things. And we know the alliance, all of these things that have popped up as the SEC's dominance throughout college football has started to become something really bothering not just the players and coaches, but people at higher levels.
This season, All-State will celebrate every field goal and extra point made by participating universities by making a donation to the university's General Scholarship Fund. Thank you, All-State. There's a lot of football to be played, and injuries happen, personnel changes happen. There's a lot to sort out over the next few months. Right now, the SEC has to feel like it's got a real chance at getting 2 teams, because it's not just that the ACC has taken a hit as we get a flag.
False start, offense, number 24. 5-yard penalty, 4th down.
You look at what's happening in the Pac-12. Oregon did get a marquee win. The rest of that conference has been beaten down through 2 weeks. Look at the Big 12. Oklahoma nearly upset by Tulane in week 1. Iowa State in a Big 12, Big 10 rivalry game, it goes down to Iowa. Texas loses to Arkansas. So the strength of the SEC, and I guess you could say, and Iowa maybe early on, but really the strength of the SEC plays out in this early season. There's got to be a lot of optimism about how many teams they can get in the college football playoff. From the ACC side, I still think Clemson's going to get that eye test benefit with the committee, but now it feels like they've got to blow everybody out the rest of the way.
They do, but they got a lot of room to breathe when Ohio State suffered that setback today against Oregon. That is definitely going to help them. They've built up enough goodwill at this point. But again, for the conference at large, for Miami and Manny Diaz, who get a big win. That win against Sean Clark and the boys from Boone is a huge one for this program because they know what they're about there. Miami still trying to figure that out, but the identity search continues for a lot of these ACC programs.
4:22 to go after the punt. Another 5 receiver look for NC State. Larry slings one over the middle. It's caught. Porter Rooks, speedster out of Charlotte for a first down. Following our game, we get UNLV, Arizona State. I want to make sure you get this story in. Herm Edwards spoiled a Game of Thrones episode for you, and I don't think you've forgiven him yet.
I haven't, and I don't think I ever will. And so many think of Herm Edwards for quotes like, don't press send. You play to win the game.
Jordan Houston with the catch. All right, go ahead. Tell the story. What happened?
I think of him for the quote, the bad guy's got a dragon. I come in doing morning radio with my dad one day. I haven't seen the latest episode of Game of Thrones, a season finale where a particular weapon changes hands. It's a pretty big plot deal. And I tell everyone, guys, I'm not going online. I'm not doing any of this. And Herm, up against a hard out, looks at me and goes, I got to give you one little spoiler. The bad guy's got a dragon. The White Walker's getting a dragon, only one of the more pivotal plot elements in the history of the show. And Herm Edwards drops that one out of me, mic drops, and walks out of the studio.
He left you with that bad guy's got a dragon, and that was the sign-off.
That was it. Walked out, went to do another hit, walked back into the studio, yelled it at me again just to add insult to it one more time. I love you to death, Herm, but you know that was foul.
UNLV, Arizona State, next on ESPN2. You feel better? You got that off your chest?
I do, thank you. This felt therapeutic.
Whew. A 3rd and 4, Leary to the air. And a first down catch along that far sideline. It's a Mezzi again, closing in on 100 yards receiving. He's got a chance by the end of the season to move into the top 3 all-time in receiving yards. And the guys ahead of him, Torrey Holt and Jericho Cotchery.
Esteemed company, a guy who's caught a pass in now 34 straight games here. He was one of the only consistent elements of this offense that really struggled to generate any sort of downfield presence, as we see a bit more right there. Porter Rooks with the snag that'll set them up with 1st and goal inside the 5, although feeling like much too little too late.
Yeah. Rooks from Charlotte, North Carolina. A second-year freshman. Everybody got the extra year of eligibility last year. 1st and goal. Jordan Houston is the running back. And he is stuffed. Emerson, the cornerback, got in there. So did Jet Johnson. This defense has been swarming, and this is where we've seen them step up in the red zone. Goal-to-go situations.
We talked about the coaching points from week 1 to week 2. Week 2 to 3 for Mississippi State is going to be, you were able to dominate in a lot of great situations here. We've still got to iron out the penalties. 3rd red zone trip for NC State, no points so far. And so for Mississippi State, if you can just avoid false start penalties on the defensive line here, holding penalties on offense, imagine what we can do then when the competition jumps when we get into SEC play.
With the play clock running down, we get a timeout by NC State.
NC State, their 2nd timeout of the half.
Well, now through
30-second timeout.
Mississippi State opponents have been in the red zone 5 times. No touchdowns, 2 field goals. You're ready for tomorrow, 4 Eastern. Take a little break from football to watch the U.S. Open men's final. The Joker meets Daniil Medvedev and Novak Djokovic, going for the calendar year Grand Slam. One the Australian, the French, Wimbledon, looking to win the U.S. Open. Last man to do it, Rod Laver in 1969. Last person to do it, Steffi Graf in 1988. And how about this? The major titles all time. Federer has 20. Nadal's got 20. Djokovic has 20. So if he wins this major, he would have the most majors of any man in singles competition.
You mentioned the golden age we've been in for men's tennis. Federer felt like for so long he was the unapproachable standard. We've just seen Joker over time chase him down now, sort of like the Terminator, walking him down from distance.
Emma Raducanu won the women's singles title today. End zone throw is incomplete. 3rd and goal, looking for Thomas. Yeah, kind of squirts through 3 Mississippi State players, and NC State recovers. 1:03 to go. The Wolfpack have 1 timeout left. They'll start just inside midfield. Larry, quick throw, and that's another drop by Carter. That's his 3rd of the game.
For NC State, going back to the drawing board after the game, it's going to be about doing the little things right here. They were inconsistent early, failed to capitalize in so many of those opportunities when your offense was humming. And then in Anish, we talked about the downside of that live by the sword, die by it trick play at the beginning of this game. I think it took away a lot of what they were willing to do creatively on offense.
Person motions out. Larry is sacked. Randy Charlton, the UCF transfer. And no timeout by NC State. Larry steps up, eluding the pursuit. And his pass batted down. Cameron Young, that defensive line making plays in the end game.
We've called all 3 of their names tonight. Randy Charlton, Cameron Young, Jaden Crumedy. They have found ways to make plays behind the line of scrimmage, and when they can't get their hands up and affect the passing game in a number of different spots here. That's a group that really stood out today big time for this unit.
4th and 14. Bulldogs drop 8. Leary heaves it downfield, and it's intercepted. Picked off by Fred Peters, the leader on that defense. What if I told you NC State actually threw the ball more tonight than Mississippi State?
Wow. And that right there can tell you the source of all their problems. Not in that, because we know bulk rushing stats, 100-yard rushers winning games. It's a misnomer. It tells you about the game flow. And for NC State, a team whose strength is there, it tells you that because of special teams early, because of their failure to capitalize in the red zone, they got taken out of what they wanted to do, and Mississippi State got to live exactly where they wanted to.
Now the Bulldogs took away the run game, holding NC State to just 42 yards on 26 carries. A week ago, the Wolfpack ran for 293.
And this Wolfpack team's got to pick each other up at this point. You saw the penalties at the end of the game. This is still a veteran-laden squad who's got to go back to work with Dave Doran and salvage this season. This can't send them into